You're looking for a way to help your baby start learning how to fall asleep in their crib from an awake state, then let me introduce you to the chair method. The chair method is a sleep training approach that you can use for ages 4 months all the way through 5 years old, and it allows you to be present while your child falls asleep in their own sleep space. Hi there. My name is Amy. I'm a pediatric sleep consultant and the founder of the Postpartum Party, and today I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do the chair method, what age groups this is good for, and how you can use this method to get your child to fall asleep in their crib or bassinet. The chair method is a really diverse sleep training technique because you can use it as young as 4 months old and all the way up to 5 years old. So it's good for infant sleep training as well as even toddler or preschooler sleep training. What the chair method is it's a sleep training technique where you sit in a chair next to your child's crib or bed, and you slowly fade your presence out of their room over the course of several days. So the goal here is that you're present with your child. You're there to help them fall asleep a little bit, although they're doing most of the work. But they feel content and safe in their sleep space with you being right there. And then over the course of several days, they learn to lean on you a little bit less for sleep until you're completely out of the room, and then they're able to put themselves to sleep without your presence at all. It's a great option for families who can do a little bit more of the heavy lifting and want to be right by their child's side as their child learns how to fall asleep. It's also a great option if you've been co-sleeping with your baby or your toddler and you're ready to move away from that and have them start falling asleep in their own sleep space. I feel like I need to put a little caveat in here. Even though the chair method is often referred to as one of the more gentle sleep training techniques, because it does allow you to be present with your child the entire time as they learn to fall asleep, gentle sleep training doesn't always mean there won't be any crying. So babies cry, it's their only mode of communication, especially in the beginning. And so if your baby is used to rocking or nursing to sleep, they're probably going to cry to show you that they're protesting change. So you can still provide physical and verbal assurance as you're in the chair and they're learning to fall asleep in their crib. But just know that gentle doesn't always mean no tears, and that there probably will be some crying as your baby adjusts to this new change as a way to fall asleep. I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to do the chair method, but just know that sleep training is a holistic approach, and there's a lot more that goes into the front end of this before you even start doing the chair method at nighttime. If you want a step-by-step approach to sleep training that encompasses everything that you want to do before actually doing the sleep training method, then the Baby Dream System is my step-by-step course where I walk you through all the elements to put into place, as well as different sleep training techniques that are going to be most effective depending on your baby's age. So the link is below in the description box. Go ahead and click on that to learn more if you want a step-by-step approach to doing sleep training. All right, let me walk you through the steps of how to do the chair method. First, you're going to do your baby's bedtime routine, where you're doing the same events in the same order the majority of the time. Do your baby's bedtime routine. You're going to put your baby awake in their crib. Okay, we want them to be awake. We don't want them to be drowsy. We don't want them to be asleep, because part of this process is them learning how to fall asleep on their own from a completely awake state. So you're going to put your baby down for sleep awake, and you are literally going to sit next to their crib in a chair. This is why it's called the chair method, right? The first night you are right next to their crib, you can use physical comfort to help get them to sleep. This could be patting them. Maybe you're holding a hand on their chest to help them. Maybe you're holding their hand. That might help them fall asleep. So you're right next to the crib, so you're able to use that physical comfort, and then you can also use verbal comfort to help them fall asleep. So this might be making a shushing sound. Maybe you're humming. You could use a simple phrase like "Mama's here, good night." Want to make sure that you're not being too stimulating for your baby so that they aren't just like watching you. If you're playing or singing with them, they're just going to be enamored with watching you. So you really want to be low stimulation. Your presence is there to help your baby fall asleep and help them feel safe in their sleep space. But the goal is still for them to do most of the work in putting themselves to sleep in their crib or their bed. Another really important factor when you do the chair method is to make sure that the room is dark. So make sure that you have a really good pair of blackout curtains in your child's bedroom so that because you're going to be right there sitting with them in the room, we don't want them to really see you all that much. Okay, they're going to know that you're there and be able to smell you and maybe see you a little bit, but we want the room to be really dark so that your presence is not too stimulating for them. So you're sitting in the chair until your baby falls asleep at bedtime. Depending on your baby's age, their temperament, their sleep habits, this could really be a range. Some babies, it may be 10 minutes. Other babies, it could be up to 90 minutes to 2 hours. It really depends on so many factors. So if you're going to choose to do the chair method, make sure that you're committed to staying in the chair until they fall asleep and really following through with that consistency. Once your baby falls asleep, you can quietly get up from the chair and leave the room. Now, it might be best to wait until your baby is really in that deep sleep because sometimes babies fall asleep, the parent gets up right away, and then it might waken the baby up. So if you want to just give it like an extra 10 minutes just to make sure they're in that deep sleep and then leave the room, that would be the safest bet. The other thing I want to note here is make sure that you're not playing on your phone while you're sitting in the chair. I know it's going to be extremely boring. You might be in it for the long haul. This method requires a lot of patience and a lot of consistency. We don't want the blue light from your phone really lighting up the room. That would just cause more stimulation for your baby. So we want the room dark. We want it to be boring in there. You're there to help your baby fall asleep with your presence, but it's still sleepy time, and so we really don't want a lot going on in that bedroom. If you're doing the chair method with a toddler or a preschooler, we want to make sure that you're really not too engaging. So this is where it can be really helpful to have a little script that you're going to say. If your child is talking to you or asking you to crawl in the bed with them, it can be really helpful to have a simple script, just something short and sweet that you can repeat again and again. This might be something like, "Good night, Jack, time for bed." Honestly, for some kids, it's better if you don't say anything at all. Sometimes they just start engaging and then the conversation is really too stimulating for them, or even your script can be too stimulating for them. So for some kids, it can be really helpful if you just don't say anything at all and just let them know that you're going to be in the chair until they fall asleep. But it is time for sleep time, and so we're not going to talk or play. When your child wakes up in the middle of the night, if this is a baby who has already dropped their night feeds or a toddler who is not eating in the middle of the night or doesn't need to take a feed in the middle of the night, then you're going to resume your position in the chair. This is where it's going to be especially important that you're not stimulating, that the room is dark. You're there to sit in the chair. If you have a baby, you can pat them again. You can shush them to sleep. You can hold their hand. However you did it at the bedtime routine, go ahead and resume that in the middle of the night. I know this can be really, really tough to sit at 2 a.m. in a chair in your child's room when you're exhausted. But if you can stay the course over the next several days, then this method can be really effective for helping a baby learn to sleep in their crib all night, or your toddler learn how to stay in their bed all night long. So again, you're staying in the chair until your baby falls asleep again, and then when they do, you're going to quietly get up and leave the room again. If you have a partner and you guys can take turns, that is even better. I do recommend staying in the chair the entire length of the time, and then your partner can do the next wake up, or you guys could alternate nights. So I'm going to do night one, my partner can do the next night. That way you're each getting a full night of sleep. Every time your baby or your toddler wakes up in the middle of the night, you're going back to the chair and you're resuming your position in the chair. We are going to work on slowly fading your presence out of the room so that your baby does learn how to fall asleep in their own sleep space, but that you're not constantly sitting in a chair with them. So nights 1, 2, and 3, your chair is right next to their crib. You're able to use your voice and your touch to soothe them and help them get to sleep. On night 4, you move your chair slightly away from your baby's crib. So at this point, I would recommend putting it about halfway between your baby's crib and the doorway. So depending on the configuration of your room, you're closer to the door, you're not right next to your baby's crib. And so at this point, you won't be able to use touch to soothe your baby, but you can still use your voice. And at this point, bedtime should be going a lot smoother and your baby will start to have those skills and start to be able to put themselves to sleep easier than they have been in the past. So nights 4, 5, and 6, your chair is in the same position about halfway between the room, halfway between the crib and the doorway, and you're resuming that position each time your baby has a wake up in the middle of the night. So you're repeating the exact same steps from the first night, your chair is just in a different position. Night 7, 8, and 9, you're moving the chair again. Now you can move the chair to the doorway. So the door is open, your chair is in the doorway of your baby or toddler's room, and you're still able to use your voice to comfort them, but you're slowly taking your presence out of the room so that your baby is learning increasingly more how to fall asleep on their own and how to fall asleep with your help. On night 10, you are completely out of the room and you can go ahead and close your baby or toddler's door at bedtime. Your baby should have the skills to fall asleep, especially if you've been doing all the other elements of sleep training as well. Remember, there's a lot more that goes into it than just doing this one particular method. But by this point, your presence is out of the room, bedtime should be much easier, and your baby should be sleeping longer stretches at night. If you're not sure what all those other steps are or how to go about implementing them, then make sure to check out the Baby Dream System. It's my holistic approach to sleep training. I cover your baby's sleep environment, the sleep schedules that they need to help optimize their sleep for the nighttime, how to get them falling asleep at bedtime, a bedtime routine that will really help their environment, and a step-by-step approach for this and another sleep training method is all covered in there. So check out the link below if you want more information on that. The chair method does take a couple of weeks to fully complete it, although you should see progress within a couple of nights at bedtime. Make sure that you only choose to do the chair method if you can consistently commit to sitting in the chair for at least those 10 days at bedtime and in the middle of the night. You and your partner can take turns, but this method does require complete consistency in order to see success. It can be very effective, and a lot of parents like that they can stay by their baby or toddler's side as they learn to fall asleep, and so that is why this is a great method for some families. If you have any questions about sleep training or how to do the chair method, then go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and me and my team would love to help you troubleshoot. Thanks for watching. Sweet dreams.